And hi, it's Tuesday, the 1st of October, and we're here to look at some astrology. I'm just going to go directly to the share and we'll look at the chart. There we go. Right, there we go. Okay, so we probably all know that we've got an eclipse tomorrow, and that's good. I'm not going to talk any more about that. I did that in yesterday's video. But there are a couple of things here that I thought might interest you. The first is that I just want to point out how many of the outer planets are retrograde at the moment. That means they appear to be going backwards in the sky. They don't really go backwards, it's just an optical illusion. But here we go. We've got Pluto retrograde. Now, the retrograde is marked by a little R there, which you may not be able to see if you're on a phone, but I'll tell you. Pluto retrograde, Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde. That's not a planet. Chiron retrograde, Eris retrograde, Uranus retrograde. Yes, seriously. The planets that aren't retrograde are the ones that are on or in the same hemisphere as the sun. So if we sort of did an imaginary hemisphere here, sort of a line there. So this is one hemisphere and that's the other. Two hemispheres make a sphere. Then everything on this side won't be retrograde, and everything on this side will be. And this applies to the outer planets only. It doesn't apply to the inner planets of Mercury and Venus, and it doesn't apply to the moon. The moon never goes retrograde. Right, this is because, again, of this optical illusion. So when the sun is opposite or nearly opposite or a bit away from opposite to the sun, then it looks as if it's retrograde to us. Okay, so if the sun were around here at the moment and it was in Pisces and Aries, all of these outer planets would not be retrograde. All that would be retrograde is Vesta and Juno and maybe Athena and maybe Mars. But it's not that way, it's this way. So these are all retrograde. Okay, what does that, I'll just stop the share now. Okay, what does that mean in astrology when we get all those symbols of big outer influence? So when I say outer influence, what I'm talking about is huge swathes in the cultural environment, in the collective unconscious or the collective conscious. These planets represent big waves or tsunamis of influence, like fashion, for instance. So, say a huge fashion suddenly goes around the planet. Okay, TikTok's in fashion, or let's pick a fashion that short skirts, long skirts, anything like that. A particular type of hairdo suddenly appears. That is something, an influence that is affecting the general population on this planet. Well, the outer planets kind of work like that. So they're symbolizing a vast movement underneath our radar or within our radar. But that's what they're there to do, to show us these vast changes that we can expect or we are experiencing. Okay, so if they all go retrograde, which means the planet is going over the ground that it has been before, it has already traveled this path, and it is just going back over it. Now, we know, because I talked to you about Mercury retrograde, that what actually happens in a retrograde planet, it is giving you an opportunity to revisit all the things that were highlighted the first time around when it was first there. So it goes retrograde, that's the second time, and then it goes forward again. There's your third time. The third time is what I call the healing run, because all the disruption of the second hit, which is normally the one that carries all the difficulty, not difficulty, challenge. If something's going to happen, it tends to happen around that second hit. But anyway, so the second hit is giving you an opportunity to go over things again. However, it might be life that is undoing something or redoing something or causing something to happen, which means you have to turn and look at it again. And it can cause disruption. But when the third hit comes, when it's traveling over that path the third time, then that's when everything settles down, and it's sort of like putting the baby to bed for the night. That's all settled now, and for a few hours, in this case probably a few years, something like that. But that's what the symbols mean. Now, this can mean, if we've got like a really revolutionary planet like Uranus, then this means that there's these big hiccups, the uproot, the uproar, the bursting into life, the serious sudden changes that happen, which can be for the best. They really can. But human beings don't like change, and we especially don't like change that's forced on us. So it can feel as if that it's a bad thing. But when you look back in years to come with hindsight, you will see it was a better thing. What most of the outer planets do, in fact, probably all of them, I'd have to think about that one by one, but let's just generalize. Let's just say most of the outer planets do, is change something for the better, although you can't see it at the time. And so that's the sort of thing we're looking at the moment, that you're going over something again. It's the second time, there's a clearer view. The cosmos is thinking, now this needs to go. Or even maybe yourself, you're looking at it and thinking, no, this is hopeless. This relationship isn't working, or this career isn't working. And so this is the time that you will make your decision. It's not necessarily the time when you will actually enact it. It's the time when you realize something, or the cosmos does something that brings the whole house down, the deck of cards down. When the planet goes forward and goes back over those degrees again, that's the rebuilding time. That's the healing time. That's when everything's going to be right. This second time, when things are retrograde, it's probably not worth digging in at this point. It's probably worth just waiting to see what further changes could be afoot before you permanently put your suitcase down and unpack it, or whatever it is that you're thinking about doing. It is a turbulent time, yeah, but if we didn't have these times, we would not change. Human beings are homeostatic. This means that they like stasis. They like to stay the same. And the winds of change, the cosmos, the growth of our dimension, everything points to change. Nothing can stay the same. You've only got to look at the whizzing of the planets around the sun, and then the sun itself moving around the center of the galaxy, and then the galaxy moving around the center of a black star somewhere. All these things that we can see are subject to change. So why would we think that our life, so utterly dependent on these bigger changes, which ultimately filter down to the surface of the earth, where we, as the grain of sand on the beach, are subject to a form of change because of the turbulence that goes on in the electromagnetic fields, in the gravitational tunnels, in the all that lot. Yeah, it affects us and change happens, but it is part of our life here. We can't expect to stay the same. Do you know the worst people for dealing with change are the spiritual people who are always giving guidance or coaching to other people on how they should change or allow change. They are the worst at accepting change themselves. So many clients I've seen who have a job in coaching or psychology or in some way supporting others and guiding through change. The reason they're in that job is because they got drawn to it because they had such a huge fear of change themselves. And getting everybody else through it sort of somehow gives them the feeling that they don't have to change themselves because they're already involved in change. Well, it doesn't work like that. Anyway, I digress. So I know we've got an eclipse and etc. And I am covering subjects as we go along on a daily basis. But I just thought I'd cover this one because we did cover the eclipse. And I think it's something that we ought to understand. When we get these periods where all the outer planets are retrograde, the sun is on this side, they're on that side, they look as if they're going retrograde. You could pick out individual planets, you could pick out individual circumstances, individual natal charts. Yes, of course you can. However, you've just got to generalize sometimes. If you're doing transiting astrology, which is what we're doing, we're not doing particular sun sign astrology, horoscope astrology, monthly astrology that you see in newspapers. There's also many different astrologies. There's more than one astrology. We're looking at transiting astrology, and it is pretty broad brush. But so therefore, what I would say, looking at all these planets going backwards in the sky, retrograde, and therefore bringing up the thing that they're meant to be doing on this journey. So the forward motion, the backward motion over the same degrees, and the forward motion over the same degrees. Whatever the intention is of the cosmos for that particular halt, go back, go forward, whatever it is that it is designed to do in terms of look again, consider change, think about not doing everything the same, not living the same life. Think about that relationship. Has it passed its sell-by date? Think about the career. Think about where you live. Is it no longer serving its purpose? All these things, the planets are representing these opportunities when we look at something and go, it's time to refresh, to renew, to change, to move on. So at the moment, looking at that lot, there must be very few people in the population who are not experiencing some kind of opportunity for change. Because with all those outer planets, let's just look at the share again. Ta-da, that one. With all these outer planets here, all hitting a chart point in all those natal charts, because there's quite a few of them. I mean, like from here all the way down to there, all that lot could be hitting natal charts galore. And so quite a few of us will be exhausted by this thing that's got to happen. But it's good. It is another opportunity for personal growth. And you have to remember this, okay? Right, I will stop now and I'll stop this sharing. That's the first thing. Stop sharing. Maybe I should stop sharing. No, I'll keep sharing. And then I'll come to this recording. There we go. Anyway, that was nice to talk to you and everything and stuff. And I hope you're all well and everything. And well, if it's getting a bit much, you know where I am. Have a reading, because I've never had a client reading where the client hasn't felt a whole lot better when the readings ended. Never had that. So I can guarantee you feel better after you've spoken to me. I spoke to the lovely Carmen the other day in New Zealand, for heaven's sake, New Zealand, UK, New Zealand. And oh, we had a great time. It was wonderful. It was so nice to talk to her. You know, all the times we chat on the YouTube comments, then to finally see her was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. It's just New Zealand is the worst thing in the world for the time difference. So we were both bleary-eyed. Me because I wanted to go to bed, and her because she'd had to wake up. However, the rest of you, don't worry. It's after New Zealand, it's time difference is easy. I'm going. Shut up, Alison. See you tomorrow. Bye. Or I might not see you tomorrow if it's an eclipse. I might not know. I try not to work on eclipse. The energy is ridiculous. It's all over the place, and I don't read it very well. If anybody does read on an eclipse, they're crazy. It's not good. Okay, it might be the day after. Okay, bye.